Hello there, Jose Rodriguez here. As you guys know, anytime I find out something new pertaining to what we do, which is printing of photographs at home, I pass it on to you guys. Especially something that will be of useful knowledge to anybody who has commonly available printers such as the Canon line of Pro printers, the Epson line of Short Color, and so on. But when I originally started to refill my PGI 29 cards for the Pro 1, I had several sources for the chips from China. And I was able to order, say, 5 sets of chips, that is 12 times 5, for about $145, that's including shipping, which was not cheap for just a little envelope. And so shortly after that, once Precision Colors developed their inkset for it, they were able to find large quantities of these chips, which they bought, and they have them available for $3 a piece, or I think it's $30 for a set of 12, plus they throw in an extra, I think it's a chroma optimizer chip. So that's your baker's dozen, so to speak, for $30 plus shipping. Now, all of a sudden, the market dried up, and no one in China, no one through Alibaba or AliExpress had chips for the PGI 29 cartridges. So I thought, I'm glad Precision Colors got a boatload of these, and those should last for as long as people are using Pro 1s and refilling those original carts with good inks, such as the Precision Colors inkset. In the Printer Knowledge forum, the moderator, he goes by the name of the Hat Leprechaun. He posted a new link to a Asian site, and this is from Hong Kong, and they are carrying chips for the PGI 29. Out of curiosity, I sent a pricing request, and within about 12 hours, I received a reply. Boy, they are expensive all of a sudden. So now they have gone up. Thanks for your inquiry for a new compatible PGI 29 ink cartridge chip. Best price, US $335 a piece. Wow. So I thought, that is way too high. $201 for 5 sets of 12, plus shipping, and that is shipping to UK. I don't know why they said that when I specifically said I was from the USA. So say add another $20, $30 for shipping. And so that is totally unsatisfactory as far as I'm concerned. Stick with the Precision Colors chips that they have readily available at a much lower price. But, they are available. I thought the market had dried up, so that's actually good news. Now, Pro 1000. Yes, there are chips for the original cards, single-use chips. And yes, they are not cheap, okay? I just found out another source. I sent that information to Precision Colors. At first, it was thought that these chips were not quite ready yet, and these advertisements on Alibaba may have been a little bit premature. But it turns out that they are actually done with them. And so he's going to buy, I think, a set. And I think he's in the process of trying to obtain a Pro 1000, as well as the chemist that produces some of his inks is working at this time to produce the needed color that are extra on the Pro 1000, that is blue. And so that is where they are at. So there has been a lot of talk about the Pro 1000 being a huge waster of ink. Now let's examine that. Remember that lesser printers, meaning from the Pro 1 and down, have this time cleaning cycles. And they occur after 60 hours of non-use, 120 hours, 240, and 480. The longer you wait, the larger the cleaning cycles. The Pro 1000 apparently does not have any such thing. So how does it maintain the printhead primed and not clogging if it's not going to run these necessary arbitrary cleaning cycles like the Pro 1, the Pro 10, Pro 100, Pro 9500, and possibly even the older Pro 9000 Mark II. All of those printers did that. So the printhead on the Pro 1000, being a 12 channel printhead, is one of those category of printheads that has redundant nozzles. Probably about 50%, and I'm just guessing here, this information is sort of kept hidden, but I'm speculating. Probably about 50% of nozzle in a specific channel is kept on reserve, so that as nozzles burn out, as they normally do during normal printing, even, because remember, Canon's printheads are thermal, so they literally explode a droplet of ink onto the paper. This tiny mini explosion is causing permanent damage gradually to each nozzle. So eventually these nozzles become non-operative, so they have to be replaced by redundant nozzles. So what has been discussed is that the printer is wasting ink regardless of what you do, normal printing. So let me explain to you what Michael Chen from Precision Colors just relayed to me, and this makes perfect total sense. I sent him the information that I had received from several users of the Pro 1000. And the Pro 1000 actually records volumes of ink used. So it was recording about 1/3 of an ml total, meaning across the board, every time you ran a print. They didn't say that they were experiencing cleaning cycles like the other printers do, but that when they looked at the ink use report, it showed a total of 1/3.3 or so ml of total ink being used throughout the whole complete set of 12 channels. Here's what Michael said. Well, think about it logically. If you are running a spare set of nozzles and don't use ink through them, as the printhead goes back and forth, you are fanning the nozzles. And those spare nozzles never get used, at least until they are needed. So you have to run some ink through them or they will clog up, right? So essentially, when you are printing, you are really printing with two printers. Now, to get the print speed and running 12 channels, you have got to have a lot of nozzles. You need to keep those spare nozzles wet or bad things will occur. So let's do some math. 0.3 ml divided into 12 channels. That is like 0.025 ml per color channel. That is like 2 to 3 drops of ink coming off your syringe times 12 colors per print operation. I'd say that is reasonable. The nozzle bank on those machines are wide. Lots of nozzles for speed and accuracy. Then he goes on to expensive OEM ink makes people anal about ink usage, and that translates over even when refilling. If you have lots of nozzles, you're going to have to maintain them. Love and care doesn't work, but ink does. That's why you always tell people, when you have a printer, you need to use it. Not using it to save ink is going to cost you more eventually than loving it tenderly and not using it. So that is it. As you heard, what's happening is that those redundant nozzles are being kept primed and a little tiny, microliters, yeah, not milliliters, microliters of ink are being ejected between each actual print session of a single print. So the thought comes to mind that the Pro 1000 should be used to make large prints. If you use it to make 100 4x6s, between every 4x6, you will use up 0.3 ml of ink. That translates to 30 ml of total ink for those 100 prints. So don't use it for that type of printing. If you need 4x6s, get yourself a little letter size dye ink printer and use that for that. Not the venerable Pro 1000. That is reserved for your important print jobs. And so hopefully when I do acquire one of those, we will have ironed out the situation with the chips and the ink. And I have been experimenting. Today I took apart the one cartridge that I received from my friend in Australia. And basically it has a floating chip compartment. And the chips are different than anything you've ever seen. They actually have wings on the side. So they are more rectangular in nature than the vertically rectangular Canon normal chips that we are used to. And you would have to use some sort of double adhesive tape to hold the chip in place. Then just pop the floating chip holder back into the print cart body and then pop the cover back on it, and you're ready to use it in your printer. And refilling should be extremely easy. It's basically an ink bag with a two-way valve, so no problem. All you do is inject the ink and make sure that you aspirate any air. You weigh it. We do not know yet what a full cart weighs, so we'll have to get our hands onto some actual OEM full carts and see what they weigh so we can figure out the correct refilling procedure to make it trouble-free. All right, that is it for now. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to be doing a secondary video a little bit later today. I have my ESOL class that I have to go give at 7. Right now it's about 5 o'clock. And I'll just give you this as a freebie. It has been discussed that Canon Print Studio Pro would not work with files that had been converted to grayscale. And I thought, that's not true. And I went to my computer and converted some black and whites that were RGB. In other words, they were black and white conversions, but kept in RGB mode. And I converted them to grayscale, and I was able to open them in Print Studio Pro. But why in the hell would you ever want to convert a black and white RGB into a grayscale format? It makes absolutely zero sense. You have 255 shades of gray in a gray scale image. That's it, just one channel with from 0 to 255. So call it 256 shades. White being pure paper, black being you just pour black ink on the paper, okay? And everything else in between. That's only 255 discernible shades, which would produce banding. Okay, so don't do that. Keep it as an RGB. RGB is 255 to the third power. Okay, that's 16 million possible shades of color along the whole spectrum that that image can handle. Okay, depending on the color space. So yeah, don't convert to grayscale. Holy, okay, I almost said a bad word. Leave it as an RGB. Do your black and white conversion on one of the many tools that are available third-party wise, or in Photoshop. File, I think it's File, Adjust, and then Convert to black and white. Image Adjust and Convert to black and white. That allows you to use filters to change the way reds are rendered, the way yellows are rendered, greens, blues, and so on. If you convert to grayscale, it just converts it into a flat looking, with no character, no oomph, no pop, black and white image. So do not do that. If you want to do that, go ahead, but I warned you. Okay, it does not produce good results. All right, that is it. Hope I didn't step on any toes, but that is my experience, and I'm just passing it on to you guys. So I hope you appreciate that. Thank you once again. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. And boy, let me tell you, I lose a couple of subscribers every once in a while, but I gain like 10, 15, sometimes 30 in one day. So things are going great. Pretty soon we're going to be doing our 6,000 subscriber celebration. I just did a 5,000 one. And also within about another, I would say 2 weeks, we will hit 2 million total views. Now that may seem like nothing compared to some of the channels, but for this limited type interest channel, that is huge. So thank you once again for all your support. I'm going to post my PayPal address. Only if you email me, I will give it to you in case you want to donate via that format. I'm still a little bit, cold feet about passing out my PayPal, but I hope that nothing happens like it, happened just recently. So, all right. Thank you once again. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like, as I said before. Happy printing, everybody. Bye bye.